How would you identify the scale of a piece of music? Alright, by the sheet music, and the second one is by listening to the piece of music by the sheet music. So in this case, of course, the most important thing is for you to identify the unique pitches in the music. So no matter how many times this pitch appear in the piece of music, you just have to pick out the unique pitches, and the next thing to do is to rearrange these pitches in ascending or descending order. You want to also determine the arrangement of tones and semitones in the piece of music. So this will give a unique pattern to the scale. You also want to talk about the tonal center. Previously, I mentioned that in a scale, there's a particular pitch of the scale that all other pitches of the scale are subjected to. Every other pitch of the scale tends to pull towards this pitch. That is the tonic, and that's the tonal center, and that will give you the idea of where the first notes of the scale will be. It is do in the major scale. So you hear the tonics of a do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do is very important here. If you want to pick out the scale of a piece of music by listening to it, pick out the pitches, but most especially listen for the last note in a piece of music. That will give you the idea of the tonal center, because the last note actually drives home, and the feel of tonic is actually the home. When the music ends, gives the feel of the tonal center, or the key, or the scale in which the music is built upon. Gravitas is a popular song anyway. Try to identify the scale in the music. You can pause the video, attempt that, and put the answer in the comment section. How do you attempt this question? You want to pick out the unique pitches in the music, rearrange it, and determine if it's a major scale, a minor scale, or if it's a diatonic scale, pentatonic, or chromatic scale. Let's go. We have G, A, so we're dealing with the unique pitches. So it means G has appeared before, so we don't need to pick it. So we have C, B, we already have G, A, but just a new pitch here. D, right? We have C already. Okay, this is G, the upper G, right? We already have G. So this is E, the new pitch, right? F, okay, F is a new pitch. Okay, so let's see what will happen when we rearrange the pitches. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How will you determine the scale? Number one, it has its unique pitches. So it could be major or minors, but that is inconsequential. Let's see the arrangement of tones and semitone. Do we have it to conform to the pattern of major scale or to the pattern of minor scale? So we also determine how the music moves. For the fact that G starts the music doesn't mean G is the tonic or is the first note in the scale. So we have to look at the last note of the music. The last note is C. So remember, I told you previously that every pitch of the scale tends to pull towards home or the tonic, right? Let's look at the tone and semitone pattern. You see that when we pick out the note of the scale, we have G, and when you rearrange it, you see that you have it in this form. You have C. So you can see that the music has 5 tones and 2 semitones. For this part, it's a diatonic scale, but what kind of diatonic scale is this? Right? So let's look at where the music ends. So it progresses from the supertonic to the tonic note of the scale. So this is the tonic, and the tonic is C. Since the tonic sounds do and not la, right? So it's a major scale. Now, we want to identify this scale. So, of course, we're going to pick out the unique pitches in this piece of music. So, let's look. The first note here is G, and we have C, E flat, F. Now, we have a new pitch here, which is D, B flat. Let's go. We have G already, we have C. Alright, we have all of this. Those are the pitches. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And that is G. So when we rearrange these notes, see, we have. So let's look at the second to the last note, right? So it progresses from B flat to C. So C is the tonic, right? or is the tonal center of the music. But this music is not really C major because of the presence of accidentals, right? Because when the scale of C has accidentals in this form, right, having flats, you don't suspect a major scale. We'll be explaining that very much later, but this is a minor scale because when you look at the second to the last note, you know, it progresses from so to la, right? So la, so it progresses from, unlike major scale, ti do, but this one is so la. And when you look at the arrangement of tones and semitones, you see it does not conform to the arrangement in the major scale. Definitely it's not a C major scale, and with the presence of accidentals of this guy here, so it does not really support the arrangement of C major, but rather C minor. So you have semitone here and here, which conforms to the arrangement of tones and semitones in a minor scale. And of course, actually you can pick out the tonal center by listening to the piece of music. Alright, so let's listen to how the music goes. Listen to this piece of music, but it doesn't really sound like a major scale in that way. So it shows of a minor tonality, right? Ending in la. So a minor scale ends in la, while a major scale ends in do. A minor scale sounds like, and major scale sounds like. Now you have another task here, and again, to identify the scale, you can either listen to the music or the sheet music. To get the scale, pick out the unique pitches in the music. That will give you the idea of the scale on which the music is built on. Alright, let's go. So we have G, C, it's unique. E, we have a new pitch here, which is D. Okay, G is already there, but this is a new pitch here, A. Now let's see if we can find any other new pitch there. We have G already, E is there, D is there, C is there, D, E, they're all there. When you look at the unique pitches, we only have 5 unique pitches in this piece of music. So when we rearrange this pattern, you see that you have C, D, E, G, and A. That's a 5-note scale, right? And that is a pentatonic scale. Now, very, very much importantly, remember, a pentatonic scale doesn't have the leading note tonic progression, right? In other words, it doesn't have the semitone or half tone progression, right? The second to the last pitch is G going to C. So you have G going to C. Second to the last measure goes. Okay, that's one feature of a pentatonic scale. It doesn't have semitone movement, especially towards the end of the music, right? So that is a C pentatonic scale. Of course, you can also get this by listening to the music. Alright, listen carefully. Right, that is a pentatonic scale, and of course, the fact that it has 5 notes, and you see you don't have a semitone in the music, you don't have a half tone in the music, right? So it's a pentatonic scale. How will you tell the differences between the scale types? Basically, you talk about the unique pitches between the notes of the scale, and of course, how many are they, right? And you also determine the intervals between these pitches when you arrange them, right? Do we have semitones? Do we have tones? How many are they? This will help us to get the uniqueness in the scale types, right? Now let's say in this scale you have 8 notes, but we don't know if it's a major scale or a minor scale. Obviously it's a diatonic scale. This keyboard will help us do justice to this. So we want to determine the tone and semitone pattern on this scale. In this case, we determine the interval between every pitch of the scale, right? Now from C to D, let's say from C, this is C and this is D, you have 2 semitones, one semitone and the second semitone. So it's a tone, right? From D to E, you see it's also a tone because you have 2 semitones or a whole note there. From E to F, it's just a semitone. From F to G is a tone because you move from F to F sharp and from F sharp to G. I have done a video on accidentals, so you can check up my channel to watch the video. Alright, so from G to A is a tone. From A to B is also a tone. Now from B to C is a semitone, so that we have semitones here, B to C, and semitone here, E to F. So that makes it a major scale because it has tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, right? Alright, but in all, it has 2 semitones or 2 half tones and 5 whole tones or 5 tones. Now let's look at this. Obviously, it has 5 notes. Let's look at the uniqueness in the notes. In this case, we determine the interval between any adjacent note, right? So let's see, this is C, and again from C to D is always a tone. From D to E is a tone. From E straight to G, you have 3 semitones, a semitone between E and F, second semitone between F and F sharp, and the third semitone between F sharp, G. So we have 3 semitones between E and G, and this is G, and this is A. It's a tone. So this is a pentatonic scale. Now let's look at the last one. From C to C sharp is a semitone or half tone, and from C sharp down here it's a semitone. So from D to D sharp is a semitone. And when you look at every other note, they have the semitone or the half note. So you see that we can now conclude in a diatonic scale you have 2 semitones and 5 tones, right? And in a pentatonic scale you don't have semitones, but in a chromatic scale we have semitones but we don't have tone.